strong. Every new blood or plasma donor will help someone be there for their family. By joining Canada's Lifeline, you won't just make a difference. You will make all the difference. Learn more about how you can shine a light at blood.ca.
Hi, Anthony Longo here. What do you get when you mix bad dad jokes with fresh steamed lobster? A Father's Day feast that's sure to crack dad up. Our 23rd annual Lobster Fest is back to celebrate dad. So get your claws in some fresh East Coast lobsters, steamed and ready to crack. And if you really want to raise the stakes, add a few AAA certified Angus beef steaks to make the perfect surf and turf. June 16th and 17th in-store or order through longos.com. For quality that meets your family standards, trust ours, Longos.
Air conditioning isn't something you think about until you find yourself sticking to the couch on a hot summer day. And it's hard to think about anything else. Luckily, Intercare can get your AC fixed fast and provide you with a free diagnostic check, a $99 value. Give your home more at intercare.ca. Terms and conditions apply.
Thinking about going to Orlando because there's grown-up things to do there, like golfing and fancy restaurants, but also things that make you feel like a kid again, like riding a giant roller coaster while wearing mouse ears? We have a flight for that. To find nonstop flights to Orlando this summer, call your travel agent or visit WestJet.com.
Find News Talk 1010 Toronto through the iHeartRadio app and get more news, more talk, more Toronto.
Listen anytime, anywhere to News Talk 1010 Toronto through your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Jerry Agar continues.
Good to have you along. John Moore, who is the morning show host on News Talk 1010 in Toronto, had the license plate stolen off his car. Well, that's a real hassle. Somebody could put them on the car, and then they could do something, and then their cops are coming around and asking you about it. I don't think it would take long to have the cops realize it wasn't you. So there's that. But then there's the hassle and the expense. You got to get new plates, that kind of thing. Well, here's a new one. This is a scam we just learned about today that doesn't involve stealing your plate at all. They clone the plate. Joining me to talk about this, Ontario Provincial Police Highway Safety Division Sergeant Kerry Schmidt. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So this lady finds out, she starts getting billed by the 407, and those bills are always expensive, and she's going, I wasn't even on the 407.
Exactly. You know, we talk about identity theft, and having a vehicle identity theft can be equally frustrating as well. Yeah, she's getting these bills, and very often, you might have even a credit card stolen, and if someone just puts down a couple of dollar bills here and there, you might just pay it without even scanning your bill. It's good to review anytime you're getting billed based on something that is publicly available or accessible, making sure that those bills are actually appropriate for what you travel or what you were involved in. This could go down to tolls or even red light cameras or speed cameras.
Well, and if you were a person who used the 407 and you got a bill, and unless you were wondering, well, what happened to my transponder or something, but if you were using it from time to time, you might not notice that there was that extra charge. You're right about that. But in this case, they cloned the plate. They found a car that looked exactly as best as possible like their car, and then they put the fake license plate on. How easy is it for them to clone a plate?
Well, again, for the cameras to pick up an image, I'm not sure if you've ever seen a fake plate. We've seized plenty of people's homemade versions of plates and printing them off on some sort of paper or material that's going to be weather resistant. It may last for a little while. I'm not sure what the material was. I saw those images as well of that cloned plate, and it matched the description of the vehicle, and it looked like a real license plate. So, even with the technology that the OPP and many police services have with this automatic license plate reading, it would scan that license plate and it would come back technically appropriate because the owner, the rightful owner of that license plate, has no idea what's happened. It's not been reported stolen or missing. It's just been cloned. There's two license plates on two similar vehicles, with the same registration.
Yeah. So, because the 407 or anybody reading these things, it's not like a chip card that reads out or like your transponder does. It's just a picture. It's just a photo, right?
That's right, exactly. Yeah. And that's a pretty, frightening thing to think about, the potential. Now, what's the person's purpose for doing this? Nefarious. They could be using it in all sorts of things, and they're going to say a vehicle of this description with this license plate was reported doing this activity. Well, the police are going to be going right to the registered owner's house, obviously not the cloned house, because we have no idea who this person is. And, there's going to be some questions that are going to be answered. At that point, obviously, their cover's blown, and, it's going to be reported lost or stolen or missing, and, that would then change that condition. But, again, it doesn't take long for it to, be repeated again.
Talking to Sergeant Carrie Schmidt from the OPP Highway Safety Division, you just joined us. A woman started getting bills from the 407. She said it wasn't on the 407. What had happened is the scammers didn't steal her plate. They took a picture of it. They made a fake plate. They put it on their car, and they knew the bill would just go to her. Now, you can get out of this, but not necessarily just by, like, if you showed up at my house because something, maybe not for the 407, but, they committed a bank robbery or something, and you showed up at my house, my just saying, oh, that wasn't my plate, somebody might have copied it, that's not good enough. I'm going to have some proof.
No, well, there's going to be some serious investigation, some serious questions that are going to have to be answered. And, thanks to the 407, I talked to them as well. They conducted their own internal investigation. This woman was taken care of by the 407. Those bills were reversed, and there were minor discrepancies on the photographs that could clearly indicate that two vehicles that were both with that same number plate, there were differences that they could identify. So that was good. But you're absolutely right. The purpose for people doing this may only be for a one-off crime, and once that deal is done, it's easy for them to get away, and we may not even know that vehicle is suspicious until the registered owner files a complaint.
Yeah, so this is the first that I've heard of this scam, and the downside of you and me talking about it and it being written up as it is in the article that I saw from CTV News is somebody else will get the clever idea of doing this. But that said, how often does this happen? I've never heard of the plate cloning before.
Well, you know what? I've seen plenty of license plates where people are trying to evade toll systems. They might make their letter I become, a letter E or whatever. They can change a 0 into an 8, and all of a sudden, they can't tell which one is what. This doesn't happen too often, and certainly we don't want to encourage copycats. This is certainly a crime, and you could be charged, provincially or even criminally, depending on your activity. So this is a pretty serious activity that's going on here, and anyone who is suspicious, or it's hard. You can't really do a credit check on your vehicle like you can do on your personal finances. But if you are ever suspicious, if you're getting any kinds of bills or paperwork as a result of your vehicles, your license plate, make sure that those charges are all credible and validated, that you actually conducted yourself.
Are there times where a police officer that you know of, Sergeant, would drive up behind a car and then go, that's not a real license plate?
Well, I've seen that myself personally, where people have had, cardboard and blue markers, and they make a license plate, and it might even be, I've actually had people where they lost their license plate, it came off, and they created their own to, I don't know why, but they did, so they would have something on their license plate area.
Well, I know why. Because it's $50 to get a new one. That's why.
Yeah, maybe. If it's the laminator, it's looking in bad shape, go get it replaced. But the problem is, again, until it's reported stolen, even our license plate reading system won't actually trigger an offense, because it's going to come back registered and valid until police actually conduct their investigation.
When you know about a new scam that starts taking place, do you run a cost-benefit analysis? Like, okay, on the one hand, we need to inform the public. On the other hand, we're going to get copycats if we let people know this is being done.
Well, I don't know. When we see these kinds of things happening, we're going to report on it. We're going to be transparent. We're going to show people, what we're doing and how these criminals are taking advantage of the system. We don't want people copycatting it. And I'm sure, it's not just the one person who's come up with this idea. I'm sure people have thought of this in the past as well. But again, this is a criminal offense, and it is certainly something that affects public safety. And for whatever reasons these people are engaged in this activity, if it's just to save a red light camera or a 407 toll bill, that may be one thing. But if it's being used, like you say, for a break and entry or a bank robbery to evade detection and misdirect the police to who actually owns his vehicle, instead of stealing the car, steal the plate of a similar vehicle, and you're on your way.
All right, but if you're committing a fraud, then that's a criminal offense. Is it a criminal offense if for the person who didn't want to pay $50 for new plates, so they recreated their own plate? That seems like a lesser kind of crime.
Well, but you know what? Fraud is fraud.
But it's still my plate number. Still my plate number. That's what I would argue.
Sorry, but if the criminal side of it?
No. My plate, I lose my plate, but I know what the number is, and I think, well, I don't want to buy a new one, so I just make one of my own number.
Well, okay, that may be discretionary on the officer, and you may, you could be charged with not having an appropriate furnished license plate. That is a Highway Traffic Act offense. You may not be charged criminally in that regard, but if your plate goes missing, get it replaced.
All right.
I know people have sentimental value to it, but let's.
I'm not that attached to it.
Picture.
Thanks very much, Sergeant.
Hey, have a great day.
Touchdowns and fumbles next on the iHeartRadio Talk Network. It's 11:45. News Talk 1010 Time Saver Traffic.
Well, the backups continue heading out of the downtown core on the westbound side of the Gardner. Basically, you'll be tapping the brakes starting at around Jarvis all the way out towards Park Lawn, where 2 right lanes are blocked, 2 left lanes are getting by. You want to stick with Lakeshore. You'll